What's up, According to Metalheads? Special edition of the According to Metal podcast with a just-seen review of Iced Earth, and we're sitting outside, Biv and I, in my car. Just got out of there 10 minutes ago. We're sitting outside of the Murat...
The Murat Theater.
The Murat Theater in Indianapolis. This was the first show of the tour. And
of the North American
the North American tour, that's right. They came from Europe a little bit ago. But, again, we talked to Jake and Joseph Michael, who performed for Sanctuary this evening, which we'll get into here in a second. Talked to Jake from Iced Earth. And this, again, was a show that we've been looking forward to quite some time. And so if you listened to past episodes, you knew we were going to be here. So here we are doing a review for you guys and just kind of giving you our live thoughts unfiltered. We're going to press record like we are and share it immediately. So that's what's going on.
And also, too, I do want to point out that when we bought these tickets back on November 29th, we were, of course, under the assumption that Warrell Dane
was going to be here with
Sanctuary.
Exactly.
And then, of course, he passed in December. But so we were really anxious to see how Joseph Michael did on vocals. And I know you've got some thoughts on that as a longtime Sanctuary fan. Much more so than I. So when we get to that part, I'll definitely let you take the reins there. But the show started off actually with it had 4 acts altogether, which was amazing. They did a great job of breaking everything down.
Yeah, and we came here with the expectation of 3.
Right, because I totally forgot that they added a last-minute band to the lineup, which was really cool. They're from Richmond, Indiana. And they were called...
Wolftooth.
Wolftooth, correct. And they have a CD coming out in April, and they sounded phenomenal. Their sound... I don't know if their sound man... I don't know if they had their own sound man or what, but he was absolutely great as far as the mixing. The vocals were clean. I could understand almost every word, which at a concert is tough to do. Because usually the distortion from the bass and all that kind of drowns everything out. So I was really impressed with the sound technician, or the sound man. But even their music was very good.
Yeah, it gave me, and I wrote this down as it happened, because we're broadcasting from my Galaxy Note 8 with handy stylus. So I'm the only dork probably at a concert who's writing on my touchscreen, because I'm good like that. But I wrote down, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Biv. And this is kind of cool. We get to do this in person.
This is a first.
Like, we always do this via Skype, so this is cool that we do this get to do this in person. But I wrote down very Corrosion-like riffs, but catchier choruses.
Much more so.
You know what I mean? I mean, there is a crunch to their music, but the choruses especially were written with a catchy edge to it. And more so than a Corrosion does. But you know how Corrosion just has that good, just that good, clean groove to their riffs that are never overly intricate or over the top, but just are headbang worthy and really good. And very impressed by these guys. And they have a new album coming out in March or April. I forget what it was.
He said April and then he said March. I'm not sure if March is a pre-order or what, but their first CD. These are, you can tell, older musicians, probably in their 40s, and maybe I don't know if they all just got together from other bands or what happened. We're going to have to find out. But I would definitely be willing to review that CD.
I think we should. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's one of those bands that, talk about Triple B, or a band you will never hear of, sadly, probably, for quite some time.
If ever.
We should definitely do that. And then following Wolftooth, who was only played 3 or 4 songs. 4 sons, maybe?
I think 4 is what I counted,
So they came on. Kill Ritual came on. And this was the interesting part of the evening, is Biv had just alluded to, that the sound for Wolftooth was great. The sound for Kill Ritual was pretty bad, and it wasn't necessarily Kill Ritual's fault from what I can tell, as much it was just the way that the board was ran. And we just got done making the compliment of how good Wolftooth sound. Like, dude, the sound tonight sounds incredible here. Yeah. And this is a place at the Murat, there's several different stages, I should say, within the building.
There's the Egyptian room. There's the deluxe room that we were in.
Right.
There is a couple of others. I think 4 total. So this is the first. Actually, this is the second show I've seen in this room, the
Yeah,
deluxe room.
this is the deluxe room, holds 2,200 or something, so
that's
not a
what I
huge
read.
venue. But so from a sound standpoint, they struggle with that. The lead singer, dude, the second I saw him, I'm like, this is the kind of guy that if you were in a gas station, you would look at him and go, okay, what band do you sing for?
Right.
Just has the look. But relatively decent band. But, just from, I think what hurt them, one, strangely enough, the local band, which 95% of the time you go into going, okay, thanks for playing.
Well, I made the comment.
Set the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
And then you have Kill Ritual, who, had they led the show off, you probably would have walked away going, pretty good. Instead, you went,
Right.
And it was due to, A, sadly, the band that came on before them in their situation, but then B, the sound just wasn't as good. So that was a strike against them in that regard. So,
Well, Jason, I remember making a comment to you after we saw Wolftooth. I said, these Kill Ritual better be really good.
Yeah.
Because they set the bar very high for an opening act.
yeah, it was weird.
It was weird. But Kill Ritual, there was then, because of the sound, I think, a series of miscues and missteps. And I think even at one point they said, well, it's one of the things about the opening night.
Yeah.
You kind of get to see the mistakes.
And that brings me to something I want to talk about, which is first concerts in a tour, first shows of a tour are always considered to be we got to get this figured out here. So from a sound standpoint, they're always challenged. They're usually just out of rehearsal, usually, as a band, so things aren't as tight as they'll be 8 shows from now.
Oh, sure.
That's just the reality of it. However, what's cool about the first night of a tour is the energy, especially from the artists.
Exactly.
Like, they're like, dude, let's do this. And I guess, while we're talking about that, kind of leads us to Sanctuary here. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, the energy that the opening band brought to the crowd, and they did, was completely lost by Kill Ritual. Not by really, I won't say completely, but to a large degree, was lost because of the sound issues and whatnot. And so you started off high, then you kind of went into a valley, and then boom, we're at Sanctuary, who is performing for the very first time.
Yeah.
With Joseph Michael.
Yeah, and let's talk about that really quick. First of all, man, we're both struggling voice-wise, just because we've both been yelling and screaming, and my ears are ringing like crazy. Dude. Biv and I were right off to the side of the stage, like right off to the side, like about as damn close as you can get to the speaker as possible.
Okay,
and I'm going to be paying for that tomorrow morning. Let's put it that way.
I want to say why. For those of you that listen to the show, you know that I've gone through some medical issues. I'm in a wheelchair.
Right.
And so there is a special section off to the right side facing area of the venue of the stage, so that those of us in a wheelchair have an unobstructed view.
Right.
So, of course, Jason's with me. He gets to sit with me.
Which is sweet.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it's a nice perk.
A very nice perk. And so here we are. I mean, literally, we have no one in front of us.
Yeah.
And by the way, we'll be posting some great shots that Jason took on his phone.
Yeah.
On the Facebook page, so make sure you check those out as well. But we literally had the perfect view.
Yeah, we did. No, the view was outstanding. So let's go back to a band that, and if you've listened to our interview with Jake and Joseph, and if you haven't, please go back and do so. Because we had talked to them about tonight, and especially I talked to Joseph, like, hey, have you got a chance to, like, rehearse at all? And he's like, this weekend. Now, mind you, we recorded this, last Thursday? I don't even know what day, last Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, I mean, they rehearsed for the first time. Today is Thursday, February 22nd. They rehearsed, I want to say they said this past Friday or Saturday, for the first time with Joseph as the vocalist. And so, here's something, and I want to give my honest opinion in regards to this, too. And one of the things I noticed, especially with Sanctuary, when they opened up with early stuff. And I made the comment to Joseph that, like, it's one thing to sing songs like Into the Mirror Black, older War Ordained stuff. where he's a lot higher. It's another to sing Arise and Purify, which is the more recent stuff. The more, I mean, Worrell can still wail and did on this album, but you get my point. And he kind of laughed it off, kind of cocky, with a, I'm just not worried about it, dude. And I don't blame him after seeing him perform of having that sense of confidence.
Oh, dude, he killed it.
He, especially the high stuff. And here's the thing, and we got a chance to run into Joseph a handful of times. In fact, just before Sanctuary took the stage, and we'll post this picture as well, you saw Joseph and Jake talking to each other off the side of the stage. And I snapped a picture of them with the flash on, and they looked at us like, hey, because they're like, why the hell is someone taking a picture of us talking? And then we introduced ourselves, and it's like, oh, hey, dude, what's going on? So it was really cool to get a chance to chat with them for a couple of seconds. But this was 2 minutes before Joseph took the stage.
Yeah.
And so I decided about a song in to go to the middle of the floor because I saw that there was a congregation of older school Sanctuary fans. And my curiosity got the best of me, wanting to see, okay, it's one thing for me to think what I think, and I think Joseph's a great singer anyway, but what does somebody who is a Sanctuary fan and is used to, and let's be real, probably bought tickets like we did, thinking Worrell Dane was going to be the guy up on stage.
Sure.
What were they going to think? And especially when they sang Battle Angels, I had this guy next to me who sang every word, and Joseph just absolutely killed that song. With that said, and it's really unfortunate for Joseph, and I'd be curious to talk to him after the fact, and I'm sure we will, similar to Kill Ritual here, the issue that Sanctuary had was the mix, the sound. Lead guitars were way up front. In fact, the guitars sounded great.
Oh, they did, yeah.
The drums sounded great. Joseph's vocals were way too low in the mix,
right,
with the exception of the wailing that you could hear. And he killed it when he did it. It was just unfortunate that you couldn't hear him as well.
During the first half of the set.
During the first half of the set, exactly. And it was funny. So then, again, I'm hanging out with the older Sanctuary fans. And what I do like is, even though it was more of a challenge to hear, Arise and Purify he did very well too. It's one of my favorite songs off the last album they did with Worrell. And on top of that, the one thing that I will credit Joseph, and we'll talk about this later on with Iced Earth, is when Jake made the comment that if this is going to be a tribute to Worrell Dane, he knew that Joseph would do it the right way because of the appreciation he has for Worrell Dane.
And you could tell he did.
He did, absolutely. And the other thing I liked about it, too, was Joseph, as he had mentioned in the interview, where Worrell Dane is singing almost as characters, and he's shifting his voice from, just totally changing his tone in between words in one line, let alone into the chorus, let alone into song to song. And especially on Rise and Purify, you could see the more mature Worrell Dane come out in Joseph as he was singing. It's a shame that it didn't sound better than it did.
For the first half.
The second half sounded better, but you and I have been to enough shows to know that there's a big difference between a singer and or a band just not sounding good, or a singer in a band who, under better conditions sound-wise, would sound way better than they did.
Yeah.
And this was that example. So that's the unfortunate thing about this, is I don't think it's anything to do with Sanctuary or Joseph the way he sang, as much as it was just the mix being lackluster at best, which is unfortunate. But that's not their fault as much, but it sucks. It is what it is, and I know they're going to Cincinnati tomorrow.
At Bogarts, yeah.
At Bogarts in Cincinnati, and I'm sure if not by tomorrow, give it another show or two. So if you're listening to this and you're going to be catching this show, show Joseph some love for filling in for some big shoes. But going back to what I was saying, when we're listening to Battle Angels, I'm in the middle, surrounded by Sanctuary fans. I can tell you that they were singing along with Joseph to the point of, like, they were looking at each other like, dude, this guy's killing it. Like, you could see, like, it wasn't spoken, but it was just that look